Welcome back to another explainer. I am so incredibly excited about today's topic because we're diving into the petals and paint method to totally shatter the myth that you can't learn to draw. We're walking through a complete step-by-step guide for absolute beginners. And look, our ultimate goal today isn't just drawing stick figures. We're going to learn the actual mechanics to eventually sketch a beautiful, recognizable portrait, specifically focusing on the techniques you'd use to draw someone like Lisa from Blackpink. My promise to you right out of the gate is this: absolutely anyone can learn to draw. With just a little bit of practice, you are going to be amazed at what you can create. Let's get into it.
So, you see a stunning portrait sketch of a pop idol, and you probably think, no way, I could never do that. That takes immense natural talent, right? Be honest, how many times have you said that to yourself? Well, we are challenging that preconceived notion right off the bat today. Seriously, if you can write your own name, if you can physically hold a pencil, you already have the foundational motor skills required to sketch. You really just need the right roadmap.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to follow a really simple progression today. First, essential tools and lines. Second, pencil control. Third, the secrets of shading. Fourth, a step-by-step Apple exercise. And finally, overcoming common mistakes.
Starting with section 1, essential tools and lines. Okay, here is your petals and paint starter kit. You'll need some basic pencils, a good eraser, a sharpener, a simple ruler, a blending stump, which, by the way, is just a tightly rolled piece of paper used for smudging, and a sketchbook. That's literally the whole shebang. Notice how incredibly accessible this is? You probably have half of this stuff sitting in a junk drawer right now. And honestly, these basic tools are all you need to eventually create stunning portraits. And I really want to emphasize this point directly from the petals and paint philosophy. Expensive materials are absolutely not necessary. Please don't let financial barriers or those super intimidating high-end art supply stores stop you. You do not need expensive gear to capture a striking likeness. A standard number 2 pencil and a piece of printer paper, that is more than enough to learn all the fundamentals. The magic is in the technique, guys, not the price tag of the pencil. So it all starts with basic lines and shapes. We're talking straight lines, curves, zigzags, along with circles, squares, and ovals. Practicing these every single day is the true mechanical foundation of all drawing. I know, it might sound a bit like being back in kindergarten, but hear me out. Every single complex object in the real world can be broken down into these exact shapes. A human face, for example. It's really just a complex combination of modified ovals and curved lines. It's like a giant puzzle.
Moving on to section 2, pencil control and pressure.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how you actually handle the tool. Mastering pencil mechanics really comes down to 3 things. First, adjusting your grip. Holding it closer to the tip gives you tight, precise details, while holding it further back gives you those sweeping, loose strokes. Second, controlling your pressure, which dictates how dark the graphite goes down on the page. And third, using those 2 elements together to vary your line thickness. Varying that thickness is what instantly gives a drawing life and movement. Now, this is an absolutely crucial rule to remember. Light strokes help when sketching. This is the ultimate beginner trap right here. When you're searching for, say, the exact angle of Lisa's jawline, your instinct is probably going to be to grip that pencil super tightly and press down really hard. Don't do it. Sketching is all about finding the right lines, which means you need to keep your strokes light and breezy so you can easily erase and adjust as you go.
All right, section 3, the secrets of shading.
To get that soft, flowing texture of hair or the smooth curves of a face, Petals and Paint utilizes a whole toolbox of shading techniques: hatching, cross-hatching, stippling, and blending. By choosing a different technique from this list, you can create totally different textures. It's how you make a flat, drawn object look like smooth glass, roughed wood, or soft fabric. It's basically an optical illusion. Let's demystify some of this art jargon for a second. Take stippling. It might sound highly technical, but it literally just means using small dots to create texture and shadow. That's it. By grouping the dots closer together, the shadow gets darker. By spacing them further apart, it gets lighter. It's just a simple mechanical action of making dots that yields a beautiful photorealistic result. Well, if you have the patience for it. Which brings us to section 4, light and shadow, focusing on the Apple exercise. Before we can draw a complex portrait, we have to master light on a simple 3D object. Any round object has 5 elements of light: highlights, midtones, core shadows, reflected light, and cast shadows. Understanding these 5 zones is the absolute master key to creating volume. And the coolest part? The exact same highlights, core shadows, and reflected light on a simple sphere apply directly to the shading of a human nose. The underlying principles are completely identical. Petals and paint brilliantly highlights this spectrum. On one extreme, you have the highlights. That's where the light source hits directly, like the pure white reflections you see in realistic eyes. On the absolute opposite end, you have the core shadows, the darkest shadow where no light is reaching at all, which is exactly what you'd use to build up the rich depth in eye makeup. Nailing that contrast between the two extremes, that is exactly what makes a drawing pop right off the page. Let's move to the exercise and see how this actually builds in real time to create our apple. Step 1, start with basic shapes, just a simple, light circle. Step 2, refine your outlines. Step 3, apply shading to build up those core shadows and midtones. And Step 4, use an eraser to pull out the highlights. Just 4 simple steps. And mastering this simple apple is the exact same mechanical process you're going to use to build out the proportions of a human face later on. It's all connected. Finally, Section 5. Overcoming common mistakes. I want to be a supportive guide for you here and point out some warning signposts so you know exactly what habits to avoid. We're talking about pitfalls like rushing the process, pressing down way too hard, comparing yourself to others, and not practicing regularly. And importantly, a huge one is skipping the basic shapes because you want to rush straight to detailing the eyes or the hair of your portrait. Remember, even the most beautiful, complex sketches started out as simple circles and lines. Trust the process. So, you might be wondering, how much practice do you actually need to do this? 10. Just 10 minutes a day. That is the incredibly low barrier daily commitment required to see massive improvement. There is no need to lock yourself in a studio for hours on end. Just 10 minutes a day of practicing those lines, shapes, and basic shading will completely transform your abilities over the course of a few weeks. As our source material beautifully signs off, their core message is exactly what I want to leave you with today. Keep practicing, keep creating. It really is that straightforward. Give yourself the grace to make some bad drawings while you learn. We all do it, but never stop making those pencil strokes. I promise the progress will follow. So what does this all mean for you right now? You have the tools, you understand the basic mechanics,